Okay, 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 okay. I'm here. You asked for it. It's happening. Hey, and welcome to Hey TRA. Hey TRA is a YouTube series created for transracial adoptees. I am your host, Hannah Matthews. I'm here to react to the Red Table Talk video, Raised by White Parents, a Black Adoptee Speaks. I'm here to react to it. A few of you have sent me messages like, Hannah, I want to hear your take on this. Hannah, have you seen this? Hannah. And so, I got you. I seen it. I just watched it, and I got my reactions ready for you, and I want to share them with you. So, if you don't know already, I come out with new content every other Wednesday. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you can see my new video when it comes out. Without further ado, let's get to it.
On this Red Table Talk, she was adopted by white parents in an all-white town.
I don't identify with Black folks, and I'm not comfortable, even sitting at this table with you.
Now she says she feels lost, caught between two races.
I have no sense of strong identity without knowing my culture. How am I supposed to raise a Black child if I don't know Black culture?
But if you're trying to counsel other people on how to do it, counsel yourself.
And then, an emotional reunion with her birth mother.
Ooh, this is gonna be deep.
It's an overwhelming moment sitting in between parents.
Yeah. Willow,
How do you think you would feel if you had been adopted by a white family? I literally have zero idea.
Right.
really?
What about you, Gams?
How I was raised, I've always been a very strong proponent for Black children being raised in Black families.
Well, I know how difficult it was trying to go to all-white private schools. So
Yeah.
I would imagine that being raised by a white family would be challenging.
I mean, I guess living in Calabasas, there's
Yeah, but you come
when we were
home
growing
and you
up,
got
and
black
we have
people.
so many. Yeah, exactly. But
Right.
when you go
you
out
know
in the
who
world,
you are. Don't try it.
but being young and going out and basically only seeing white people, that's my experience.
And your mother made sure that you went to school with Black children.
Exactly.
Even if she had to create the school her daggone self.
Which I did.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go. Let's go talk to Miss Angela and hear her story.
Jada Pinkett Smith's bone structure? Can we talk about it? Wow. Girl. Sorry, not related at all. First of all, I do want to thank Red Table Talk for talking about transracial adoption with a Black adoptee. Now, I wish it was me, but not many of you know, what was that? Like, whenever the first one was released, where they had talked to the white adoptive parent about transracial adoption, I also filmed a reaction video for that video as well, but I never released it because I wasn't really pleased with it. And one of my first critiques was,
today we are talking about interracial adoption.
talk about it.
Specifically, white families that adopt Black children. And we have a very special guest here today. Yes, Kristen David.
Can I just say though, they couldn't find one transracial adoptee adult to speak on behalf of our perspective. It's always the parents' perspective. It's never the children's perspective. Okay. Let's get back to it.
So this is going to be a fascinating conversation. Angela Tucker, a Black woman who was adopted by a white family, is at the table today. Angela's birth mother, Deborah, was homeless and in poor health, barely able to take care of herself, let alone her newborn baby, who was just diagnosed with a form of cerebral palsy. Even though it tore her apart, Deborah made the agonizing decision to give Angela up. She was adopted by a white couple, eager to give her a good life and to take care of her medical needs. They moved Angela into their home in their all-white town. Angela says she loves her family, but that she grew up disconnected from Black culture, and that has left her feeling more white than Black. Now Angela is using what she has learned in her personal struggle to help families navigate the challenges of transracial adoptions.
I was embarrassed, I didn't look like my parents. I look different, my eyes are different, my skin tone is different. People knew I was different.
You were adopted, you were 13 months?
Yes.
Okay, you were 13
just
months.
over a year old.
So, similar. So, as a baby.
What was it like growing up in this all-white town and having white parents?
I have
Please
no
don't.
sense of strong identity. Being a transracial adoptee is really difficult to share what we really feel because we have parents who raised us and love us, and we don't want to appear that we're not grateful for what they've done.
Right.
For me to talk about transracial adoption, honestly, is to hurt somebody. I understand that keeping me alive and prioritizing my medical needs was really important. And look, I'm alive today.
Right.
I'm alive, but dead inside in some ways without knowing my culture and not being connected.
Right.
So for me, I don't feel like transracial adoption is the right solution because essentially we're asking me as a Black woman to assimilate into white culture, but to also keep my Blackness somehow, even though I wasn't raised within it.
Right.
People.
Interesting. So she doesn't think that transracial adoption is the solution. I'm going to revisit that.
And don't admit this, but a lot of Black transracial adoptees look in the mirror and are surprised when we look in the mirror and see a Black person because we're so used to seeing white people and we see our parents and they're white and we love them.
Right.
And so then when we see ourselves, like, oh yeah, I forgot, I'm Black.
Right.
Okay, so I've heard this actually a lot from transracial adoptees that they would forget that they were Black. Keep it 100. I never, ever, 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 ever forgot that I was not white. And I don't relate to that at all, but to each their own. And I think I can, empathize with maybe that idea just because of the surroundings that we grow up in, but even still, it's still like I knew I was brown.
As a Black woman, where do you feel most comfortable?
Where I fit in, where I feel like I actually belong is with other transracial adoptees. So I feel like white people are comfortable around me. I'm comfortable with white people. It's not that I don't want to identify as a Black woman.
Right.
But not growing up with Black culture and feeling fear when I met my birth mother and my whole birth family, I was a little bit afraid to meet them because they're a Black family and I haven't been around that. And so
Exactly.
I can't consider
It was
myself...
like alien to you, like completely unknown.
It was.
Yeah.
And therefore kind of scary. But then at the same time, I was like, this is my family.
Right.
And why am I afraid of my own family?
Right.
But I don't identify with Black folks because I feel my own sense of fear or like illegitimacy is how I feel even sitting at this table with you. Because I feel like you three are legitimate Black people because you were raised by Black people.
Right.
It's embarrassing to say that, but that's how I feel.
Reality.
Yeah.
So, first of all, Grammy's face during this whole thing is pretty hilarious. She's like, girl, what? And that's kind of how I feel, too. But I actually can identify with that feeling of, like, illegitimacy. Like, I think that stems more from my biracialness than my adoption itself.
It's troubling me just a little bit, and I
Yes.
want you to clarify it if you can,
Please.
is your use of the term fear, the fear of Black people. Where is that coming from, that you choose that term? fear?
I think about all of our implicit biases that we hold, and I can feel in my body how I change, how I'm not as comfortable.
Wow.
When I'm with all Black folks, I
don't feel that at all. Like at all. I feel so much more comfortable around people of color, specifically Black folk, as opposed to white. So I don't relate to that at all. And I'm right there with you, Grammy. Like, why are you saying you're afraid?
Fit in.
Right. What are you doing now to try to assimilate into the Black community?
Oh.
Or do you even feel the need to do that?
Or do I feel like I have the right to do that? And I don't think I feel the right. I haven't thought about it just like that, but I have embraced my place in the white world, you know? Like, I've chosen to live in a predominantly white neighborhood, and I'm just trying to be okay with that right now. I'm trying to be like, you know, I grew up in white spaces, so it makes sense that I might feel safe here.
I would imagine, I mean, even for coming from Baltimore, Maryland, and then coming out to Los Angeles.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's just like the streets of Baltimore were familiar to me, and then rolling in the streets of Calabasas was just like
different. Right.
It takes a minute, you know. People like, you know, you're stepping up. It's like, yeah, I'm stepping up, but this is like, this is right. This is not my thing, you know.
And people think that's very similar to adoption, where it's like, oh, you've gotten a better life,
right?
Like looking at my birth mother, and she doesn't have a lot of materialistic stuff. But I still long to be close to her, with her. And that's one thing that adoptees don't feel safe to say.
Right.
I wish I had that.
Right.
Wow.
Because the rest of the world's like, wait, what? You have great parents who are able to afford all these extracurriculars for you and all this, and you probably wouldn't have had that there.
Right. When I listen to you, it sounds like there's a lot of internal conflict all over the place.
Yeah, I struggle because I'm certainly grateful for the life I've been afforded and all the opportunities that I've had. But at the same time, it's hard to walk around every day and have people see a Black woman, but for me not to even feel like a Black woman. And that conflict.
Willow's face. She's like, girl, what? Anyway, but no, I really think she's legitimately trying to understand where she's coming from. That thing about internal conflict, though, is real. I definitely know, like, since I've started coming out with HTRA, people are like, what does your parents think about this? You know, all of this negative feedback. They must have pretty tough skin and stuff. And it's just like, there is an element of, when you talk about these things, you have to kind of criticize your parents. And my parents are fantastic parents. I mean, I'm living with them right now so I can save to buy my first home. And so, like, that wouldn't even be possible without them. They're giving me opportunities that I wouldn't have been afforded if I were to grow up with my birth mother, potentially, or otherwise. And so, like, there is that element of, like, I do love you and I do appreciate you, but I also can be critical of you. It's kind of similar to, like, the Black Lives Matter thing. Like, we can criticize bad policing without hating police. Like, I can criticize things that were wrong, that my parents did, that were biased or even racist, at some points ignorant. I can criticize those things and still respect and love my parents for the people that they are. Imagine that.
That happens every single day is a huge weight. But what I also know is that I was given what I feel like was white privilege by osmosis. A lot of people like myself, once we leave the house, and we no longer have white privilege by osmosis, it's like an awakening. So I chose to go to a predominantly white college because that's what just made sense for me. So I was comfortable.
How were you accepted in that environment? And did you feel racism then?
When I went to college, I did feel a lot of racism, but it was coded in this way where I was put up on a pedestal It's tokenism, being in a all-white school. You know, always being chosen to be on, like, the college pamphlets and things like that. I was like, oh, how kind. You think I'm wonderful. But really, like, they need that token. And I don't know if they embrace me. They're fetishizing me. And I'm like, interesting to everybody. Everyone is like, wow, you know, your lips are so big. Your smile's so huge. People reach out and can't resist touching my hair.
Oh, my God.
I didn't think of it as racism at the time. I just thought it was maybe flattering. And then I started to realize what was happening.
Token racism is like, and that's something we don't talk about a lot, and we experience a lot in our industry.
Not having other people to bounce these stories off of is what was really tough.
Yeah.
So that's when I really started thinking about my Blackness.
You are now helping transracial adoptions by talking to families that adopt Black children.
And how do you do that? Is it a coaching? Is it mentoring?
It's a lot of education, and it's a lot of talking about feelings, sadly. Adoptive parents have really, like, they've commandeered the whole conversation.
Yes, they have.
And so, unfortunately, we rarely hear from adopted people themselves because we often think about adoption as babies, and I'm an adult,
right?
You know, but reality is that we grow up, and we are still adopted. Rarely do we hear from birth parents. Instead, they're just kind of this amorphous, villainized people that are like, they're always
in the shadows, forgotten about.
They're scary. You know, so a lot of my work is helping adoptive families to humanize their children's birth parents.
Yep.
I'm hoping that I live to see the day to where people say, when I say I'm adopted, they say, oh my gosh, did someone try to keep you with your family first?
Yeah.
Instead of what we hear is, your parents must be so great.
I never thought about it from that
me
perspective.
Either, honestly.
My birth mom, she gave birth to me, and then she walked out the door and was homeless again.
Right.
She said, everybody cares about you getting you somewhere, but nobody cared about me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Wow.
What's up with
And
that?
we still see that, like, that discarding for the life of the woman who is having this child.
I need to just say though. This discomfort that you have with your own Blackness, but yet you're counseling others.
Okay, me and Grammy, we are just like right here with it, because I'm like, how are you helping families when you haven't embraced who you are? How are you going to help other children embrace who they are? I want to hear what she has to say, but I'm like, it's definitely in my head, like, but yeah.
On how to incorporate brown children into their families.
I feel in a bind because I've grown up in whiteness, and I have fostered, and my husband and I want to foster again, and it makes sense to me to foster a white child because that's what I'm familiar with. But then I'm like, well,
that is quite a conflict.
It really
kind of a conundrum.
That is a real freaking conundrum.
Now that is ripe for psychological archaeology.
But
Yes.
if you're trying to counsel other people on how to do it, counsel yourself. What are you?
Okay. What? She just said, excuse me, she just said, okay, so just to be clear, we are not all the same. Because that was not, and is not, and will never be how I see things. Bruh. Bruh. She said she would choose a white child. I was dying to have my beautiful brown babies. Dying.
saying, how would I do that?
Like, counsel yourself in how to raise
Yes.
a black child. Yes.
How am I supposed to raise a black child if I don't know black culture?
What you're telling
You
other
need to
people
immerse
to do
yourself in black
is
culture.
to move into a black communities,
Yes.
expose the child
Yes,
to
Grammy.
black culture. You can do the same thing.
You
What
can.
a tall order.
It's a tall order, but it's
yes,
a
I
tall
know
order
worth it.
for a white person to do it for a black person. So as a black person to do it for a black child, it certainly is. It to
Get her
me,
out of here.
would be a bit easier
Mm-hmm.
because you have some idea of what it's like being black in
That's
the world.
right.
I do. Yes.
You
And
absolutely
that
do.
could be a real healing process.
It
For
is.
you.
It
Yeah.
is.
Right, but if that's not my goal, you know. But yeah.
That's not her goal?
Wow.
Just saying.
That's not her goal? That's not her goal? This is too much. This is really too much. I think I'm really struggling because I just don't have the same experience as this transracial adoptee, and she's allowed to have her experience. Like, she's totally allowed to have this experience, and good for her for sharing it. I'm glad that they're hearing her perspective, but I'm like, can I be on the show? Because that's not how I feel. That's not how I feel. That is not how I feel.
I've learned how to flourish in a white world. And
Well,
So you have no
white people.
desire.
But we as black people,
Yes.
we can't keep asking white people to do things for us that we're not willing to do for ourselves.
Tell
Right.
White people
her
are in their comfort
about
zones too.
herself.
That's what we
That's
do
why-
all
that's
day
how we got
long
here.
in
That's
regards to
exactly.
white privilege and all of that is trying to pull white people out of their comfort zone to go, hey, just step in
yeah.
To our world.
in our world a little bit and understand our experience.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Sometimes
I
our
feel you.
biggest treasures and our biggest lessons are in the zones of discomfort.
Yes.
So true.
You're putting up an excuse, a reason why you can't do it.
Yeah.
So we want to
Yeah.
remove that, and we want you to just sit with that for a minute.
I will.
Just sit with the idea for a minute.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Angela's adoptive parents, Teresa and David, have agreed to join us at the table for their first interview together. So, first of all, I'd just like to say you guys have raised a phenomenal young woman right here.
Yes.
She's quite dynamic. As she was growing up, did you guys realize any struggles that she was having, or?
You know, first was the hair
Yeah.
because we didn't know how to do that. Her friends were always touching her hair.
Right.
I just thought of curiosity.
Right.
They'd never seen hair like this.
Right.
Right. Like the transracial adoptee has to become a teaching tool.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Learn on me.
Exactly.
But think of that, that could be a positive experience, broadening other people's horizons and understanding.
Yeah.
In a white, predominantly white town, nonetheless,
It can be a step towards raising awareness.
absolutely.
It can
Definitely.
be a step towards raising awareness, but it also can be burdensome on the
Right.
child.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah.
Growing up, my sister, I loved how her hair was sleek and down and would like flow in the wind. I loved her blue eyes. I liked my dad's blue eyes. It
I know all
comes
about
back
that.
to representation. Like I don't
Yes.
see,
You
if I don't,
get to
yeah,
struggle.
if I don't see
Yeah.
that, I see this, and it's
Yeah.
it's beautiful, and I love them. I want to be like that.
Yeah. I remember I went through a little phase when I was younger where I hated my hair.
Yeah.
And I would cry.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, I want my hair to, just like you were saying, I want my
Right.
hair to fall. I want it
Yes.
to flow. Why?
Yes.
And then I remember you showed me Rough and Stuff.
Yeah,
And I watched that video and I was like,
Yeah.
Rough and Stuff. And I was like, yes. That's when my whole life changed with my hair.
Yeah, Lady of Rage.
You were like, here, none of this.
I
I'm
was
going
like,
to show
yeah,
you
but
this.
Therein lies again my concern and the
Yes.
challenge of not being raised,
by
you know,
black people.
around your own, not even around you, even if you're not in,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know, but not even around, nowhere around your own culture.
Right.
It becomes problematic with your own self-esteem,
Yes.
your own self-worth.
Absolutely.
What made you decide to adopt children of color?
I'm not sure that was a conscious decision.
Wow. Okay.
We ask ourselves, ask each other,
Right.
what are we open to? What can we handle and contribute to? And we found Angela in a book, The State of Tennessee. And what we saw was a child who also had spastic quadriplegia, hearing loss, and that we could help. She could be
Right.
part of our family.
Right.
So you didn't really even consider the fact that she was Black. It wasn't something that you even really
You just
thought
saw
about.
a child
You saw
in
a child in need.
Yeah, obviously her picture was.
Right. But you didn't consider that there might be any challenges or any differences in how she would be raised based on her race.
If we did at that time, they would have been secondary to what are the needs.
Got it. Well, Angela's birth mother, Deborah, is joining us as well. Angela has not seen her in nearly 4 years. So this is pretty awesome.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
There she is.
Well, hello, Miss Deborah.
Welcome to the table, Miss Deborah.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Willow.
Thank you for coming.
Willow.
Thank you so much.
This is my family. This is my side. This is my family.
Yes.
Angela, how are you, darling? How are you?
Miss Deborah, you can sit over there
Sit
right
beside
by
Angela.
Thank you.
Yes. So 8 years ago, Angela began the emotional journey to find her birth mother, Deborah, and she documented the whole process.
Wow.
God, she is so pretty, and like she's so tall, and oh, it's a nervous wreck. I think I would have been a different person if I would have grown up with the sister.
Aw.
I waited like for 25 years to thank Deborah. Thank her for sharing Angela. So right away, of course, I wanted to thank her. And so we started walking together. And I was thanking her, but at the same time, she was thanking me.
Wow.
And I never thought about that. She did just a really hard thing. She did something that I'm not sure I could do. And I did something that she wasn't able to do.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
It's beautiful.
That was beautiful.
How are you feeling, Deborah?
Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will forever hurt.
That's right.
The more I see her, the harder it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I could go back and undo my life, I would. No way that I would give away a child. Right? At that time, not having a home, not having a job. Why drag a child around?
Right.
Because you can't take care of it.
Yeah.
So you got to make a strong choice.
Yeah.
Right.
So I went to a higher power. And I said, help me, please. When I put Angela up for adoption, that ended all my rights to know anything.
Right.
I had no idea about where Angela was. I had no idea about transracial adoption. I was brought up into that age where you didn't talk to white people, let me talk to you.
Yes, right.
I was astonished.
So, Teresa, were you hesitant about Angela finding Deborah?
When I was younger, yes.
Yeah.
Because I had this unreasonable fear that she might kind of come and that she'd be her mom.
Right.
But I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't picture.
That you would be replaced.
I would be replaced, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Deborah taught me that
She's her mother.
Right.
different.
I'm the vessel that God used to put her here.
Yeah.
But there's her parents right there.
Yeah.
And I am just so proud
Mm-hmm.
of the young lady she is, what they've taught her, how smart she is.
It's an overwhelming moment sitting in between parents.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, everyone's so beautiful here, but my eyes just want to, like, stare at Deborah and just, because I'm still just trying to figure her out.
You're right.
And I still
I
can't
can't
believe
figure me
it.
out.
We all know that you've done the best that you can.
That's right.
And that we truly want you to feel like you're part of our family, and that you not being able to parent me doesn't mean that you give up your rights to know who I am, know
That's
how I'm
right.
doing.
Thank you. I just need to thank everyone at this table for allowing me to be here.
Oh,
Absolutely.
well, I think it's just beautiful that we could all sit here together
Yeah.
for many different reasons.
And
you
talk
know,
about this
this
specifically.
specific,
Right.
and the fact that These beautiful people adopted and raised this beautiful woman.
And were open enough to come and speak to us about it.
Yeah, and crossing those racial barriers.
Yeah.
And even though this is a learning process, but love is love.
Right.
Love is love. And this just shows you right here.
This has been one of my favorite episodes.
Aww. Yeah. Hey, RTT family. Join our red team.
That was a lot to process. It was beautiful seeing her documentary about her family. I actually want to go and watch it. I haven't seen it, so I'll have to go on YouTube and find it and watch it because that was beautiful. I wish I could have documented me meeting my birth family because that was a very emotional and beautiful experience. I think I made it clear in my reactions though that me and Angela had very different experiences of our identity, and that's not to devalue that experience. I think that would be extremely hard to have that internal struggle of not feeling like you're brown and not actually identifying as black, and feeling more comfortable in white spaces. I see that in the transracial adoptee community. I just don't personally feel that. I think that has a lot to do with my college experience, which again, I am going to be releasing a episode about my college experience and how that was really a transformational and life-giving experience for me, and specifically for my black identity. But I thank Angela for sharing her story. Again, it's not my experience. I think there, of course, are some similarities, of course, because we have similar experiences. We both had white parents. We both grew up in predominantly white areas. But the whole, like, looking in the mirror and forgetting you're brown, no. Your girl ain't never forget you was brown. Come on. I was being treated like I was brown. See, that's the thing I don't understand. It's like, are you just not experiencing the racism that you are experiencing as racism? Like, what are you just chalking it up to something else? Because maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Because I don't understand that. But, you know, it just wasn't my experience. That's all. And I think it was beautiful that they included her birth mother and she was able to share her experience because, like Angela said, it is so rare that you hear the birth mother's perspective at all. I mean, in any way, shape, or form. So it was beautiful to see that she, you know, it was from a place of hurt that she gave up Angela, but it was a selfless decision because of her circumstances, and I think that was very similar to the circumstances of my birth mother as well. This is my reaction to the Red Table Talk episode about Raised by White Parents, or Black Adoptee Speaks. I'm, again, very grateful to them for incorporating the voice of a Black adoptee in any way, even if it wasn't my particular experience. I'm so grateful that they, you know, heard from an adoptee. And, yeah, I wanted to release this episode, a bonus episode, as quickly as I could, so that you guys could hear my reaction, because I knew that it was something that people wanted to hear from me. So, that's it. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. If you don't already know, I release new content every other Wednesday. And if you like this video and you'd like to see more reaction videos, I want you to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more reaction videos, they're very, you know, fun for me to do, but difficult to edit, so let me know. But yes, let me know if you want to see more reaction videos, because I can do that. And also, if you have not already, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, to make sure that you know when the next video comes out, because there's another video coming out after this. Okay? Yeah, so. Peace. man.